I'm about to tell something that could save a life, and it has to do with a single mineral that thousands of seniors have been told will unclog arteries naturally. I'm Dr. Claire Whitmore, and after 2 decades as a cardiologist, I've opened, stented, and bypassed thousands of arteries in older adults. In that time, far too many seniors have walked into my office clutching a bottle of a so-called miracle mineral, saying, "Doctor, this is supposed to dissolve plaque. Do I really still need all these other medications and procedures?" Some of those seniors made it, some did not. By the end of this video, seniors will know 3 things very clearly. First, which mineral is being pushed everywhere as a natural artery cleanser, and what it actually does inside an older artery. Second, the hard truth about what can and what cannot reverse plaque once it is there. Third, a step-by-step way to use this mineral safely as one tool, not the entire toolbox to protect the heart and brain. But I am not going to name that mineral in the first minute, because if I do, some seniors will write it down, go buy the supplement, and click away, still believing it is a magic drain cleaner for arteries. That misunderstanding is exactly how heart attacks and strokes happen in seniors who think they are protected by a natural pill. In a few minutes, there will be a story about William, a 73-year-old retired plumber who decided to trust a miracle mineral video more than his cardiologist. He stopped his statin, doubled his supplement dose, and walked around believing he was melting plaque. 3 months later, he was lying on a cath lab table with a massive heart attack that permanently weakened his heart. Before that story, it helps to take stock. Seniors watching this can quietly answer for themselves. What was the last LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, ever seen on a lab report? Has any doctor ever mentioned plaque, calcium in arteries, a stent, a bypass, or a carotid ultrasound? That background matters, because this mineral behaves very differently in a healthy 65-year-old with no plaque than in a 78-year-old with known blockages and kidney disease. Now let's talk about William. William was 73. He had spent his life as a plumber on his feet, lifting, dragging pipes, fixing leaks. He was married, lived with his wife in a modest 1-story house, still mowed his own lawn, tinkered with tools in the garage, and walked the dog when his knees weren't acting up. His medical chart looked like many seniors. He had long-standing high blood pressure, usually around 145/85 on 2 medications. He had type 2 diabetes for 12 years. His last A1C was 7.8%, not terrible, not great. His LDL cholesterol was 142 milligrams DL at his last check, well above the target for someone with his risks. There was a strong family history. His father had died at 62 from a heart attack, his older brother at 68 from the same thing. His daily medications were typical: lisinopril 20 milligrams, amlodipine 10 milligrams, metformin 1000 milligrams twice a day, atorvastatin 40 milligrams at night, and a baby aspirin. For years, his cardiologist had been saying essentially the same sentence every visit: "We need your LDL under 70. We need your blood pressure down into the 120s, 130s, 130s. We need more walking and fewer processed foods. These are not optional." William made small changes but never fully committed. Then one winter, stuck inside more than usual, he fell down an internet rabbit hole. He saw a video titled, "This one mineral is unclogging arteries naturally. Big Pharma hates it." He clicked. The host wore a white coat, waved colourful artery diagrams, and spoke with the confidence of someone who never doubted himself. "Seniors don't need dangerous statins or risky surgeries," he said. "All that's needed is enough of this mineral. It softens plaque, dissolves calcium in artery walls, and naturally opens blood flow. Clinical trials prove it." He used phrases like dissolve plaque, clear arteries, and 100% natural. The mineral's name was magnesium. To William, that sounded perfect. A mineral, natural, safer than these chemicals the cardiologist keeps pushing. At his next appointment, his LDL was still 138. His blood pressure that day was 148/88. The cardiologist said, "These numbers are still too high. We should increase the statin dose and be more aggressive on diet and walking." William frowned. "Doctor, I've been researching. Statins have terrible side effects. I found out magnesium can clear plaque naturally. It's just a mineral. Safe." The cardiologist answered, "Magnesium is important. Many older adults are a bit low, but it is not a drain cleaner for arteries. It supports vessel health, yes, but it does not replace statins or blood pressure control or lifestyle changes." William left unconvinced. To him, the cardiologist represented old thinking. The online video felt fresh and hopeful. He went to a health food store and bought a big bottle labeled Magnesium Complex, 400 milligrams, heart and artery support, unclogs calcium deposits. He started taking 2 capsules a day, 800 milligrams, without telling his doctor. He also decided on his own to cut his Statin tablet in half for a week, then stop it completely. "I don't need that anymore," he told his wife. "This mineral is going to melt the plaque off my arteries. They just want to keep me on drugs." For the first 2 months, he felt about the same. No miracle, but no crisis. He noticed a little less leg cramping at night and took that as evidence. The magnesium was doing something. His wife asked, "Are you sure you should have stopped that heart pill?" He said, "Doctors just push prescriptions. This magnesium is natural and actually cleans things out." Around month 3, small warning signs crept in. He began noticing more frequent skipped heartbeats, little flutters in his chest, a sudden thump, then normal again. Once or twice he felt a short burst of rapid heartbeat when he bent down and stood up quickly. He chalked it up to age or coffee. He also had more crushing fatigue in the afternoons. He would sink into his recliner and feel as though lifting his arms took effort. One Saturday, at a neighbour's backyard barbecue, he had a more serious episode. Walking from the car around to the yard, he felt a heavy pressure in the centre of his chest. Not a stab, more like someone had pressed a fist into his sternum. It crept into his left arm. He paused and leaned on the fence. "Bill, you okay?" his neighbour asked. "Just out of breath," William replied. "Haven't walked much today." After a few minutes, the pressure eased. He said nothing more. In his mind, the magnesium was cleaning things out, and he decided that maybe cleaning sometimes felt odd. At home, he checked his blood pressure, 156/92. He thought, a bit up from excitement. This mineral is still working on things. He did not call his doctor. He did not say a word. 2 weeks later, the real crisis arrived. On a Tuesday morning around 6:40, William woke with a deep sense that something was wrong. No pain yet, just a heavy feeling. He went to the bathroom, washed his face, and as he walked back to the bed, a severe pressure slammed into his chest, central, deep, a tightening vice. He sat down on the edge of the bed. The pain spread into his left arm and up into his jaw. Sweat broke out on his forehead and back. Breathing became hard work, like an elephant was sitting on him. His wife woke. "Bill, what's happening?" she asked. "I don't feel right," he managed. "Chest feels tight." She grabbed the home monitor. It read 162/94. His heart rate was 112. She reached for the phone. "I'm calling 911. William, still believing numbers mattered more than symptoms, shook his head. "It's just anxiety," he gasped. "Doctor said only worry if it's over 180. And the magnesium is clearing the arteries. It's probably them unclogging." He tried to stand, and the pain instantly worsened. He felt nauseated, lurched to the bathroom, and vomited into the sink. His wife did not ask permission again. She dialed 911. Paramedics arrived at 6:58. They saw a pale, clammy man clutching his chest, breathing fast and shallow. An EKG in the living room showed classic signs of a large, ongoing heart attack, a SETI elevation myocardial infarction. In the ambulance, his blood pressure dropped to 98/60. The monitor showed bursts of a deadly rhythm, ventricular tachycardia, triggered by angry, oxygen-starved heart muscle. At the hospital cath lab, an angiogram found a near-complete blockage, 99% in his left anterior descending artery, the so-called widowmaker. The interventional cardiologist threaded a wire, inflated a balloon, and placed a stent. Blood re-entered the vessel, but large sections of heart muscle had already died. An ultrasound of his heart, echocardiogram, showed his ejection fraction, the pumping strength, had crashed from about 55% to 30%. Part of the front wall barely moved. Blood tests showed his LDL still up at 146, unchanged because the statin had been stopped. His magnesium level was actually a bit high from all the supplements. In the ICU, his cardiologist spoke plainly. "Bill, this was a big heart attack. Stopping the statin and relying on magnesium to unclog arteries did not protect you. Magnesium plays a role, but it does not melt plaque. Those online claims were misleading at best." He stared at the blanket. "But they said clinical trials proved it unclogs arteries," he whispered. "They said it dissolves calcium." She shook her head. "Trials show low magnesium is associated with more calcification and more events. Some small studies suggest that getting magnesium back to normal might slow progression a little. Nothing shows it erases decades of plaque the way a drain cleaner erases a clog." His recovery was long. He left the hospital with a weak heart, on several new medications, and strict limits on activity. Walking to the mailbox became a major effort. Mowing the lawn was no longer possible. Projects in the garage collected dust. His world shrank. The bitter part is this: if William had understood what magnesium can and cannot do, he might have made completely different choices. He might have kept his statin. He might have taken magnesium in a reasonable dose as a support, not a replacement. He might have recognized chest pressure as an emergency, not cleaning. He might have arrived at the hospital hours earlier when more heart muscle could have been saved. The mineral itself was not the villain. The myth around it was. Now let's clear up what magnesium really does inside senior arteries. Magnesium is the mineral almost all of these unclog your arteries naturally claims focus on. For years, conventional cardiology often shrugged it off. Just eat a decent diet, you'll get enough. At the same time, some alternative circles have shouted, high-dose magnesium will dissolve plaque and calcium. You don't need statins, you don't need procedures. Neither extreme is accurate. Magnesium is indeed essential for artery health and heart rhythm. Many seniors are mildly low in magnesium, especially those on diuretics or acid-blocking drugs. Correcting that deficiency can modestly lower blood pressure, improve vessel flexibility, stabilize heart rhythms, and slightly influence calcification. But there is no good evidence that magnesium by itself melts established plaque or reverses heavy calcification the way a plunger unclogs a pipe. Here's what magnesium really does. It helps the smooth muscle in artery walls relax, which lowers resistance and can gently reduce blood pressure. It works as a counterbalance to calcium. Calcium signals muscles to contract. Magnesium helps them let go. In arteries, too much calcium and too little magnesium can contribute to stiff calcified walls. Adequate magnesium appears to slow that process and keep arteries more flexible. It also has effects on inflammation and metabolism. Low magnesium levels are linked with higher inflammation, insulin resistance, and greater risk of diabetes, all factors that drive plaque. And inside the heart, magnesium helps stabilize the electrical system. Too little can trigger arrhythmias, especially in seniors on diuretics or certain heart drugs. So magnesium matters, but older bodies handle it very differently from younger ones. Kidney function declines with age, and kidneys are what clear magnesium. When kidney function is reduced, magnesium from supplements can accumulate. A dose that a 40-year-old could pee out may cause a 78-year-old's magnesium level to drift upward, leading to low blood pressure, muscle weakness, and depressed reflexes in extreme cases. Arteries in seniors also already have decades of plaque and calcium. Magnesium may slow further calcification somewhat and may soften stiffness slightly, but expecting it to strip away deep old deposits is not realistic. Add in medications, and things get more complex. Many seniors take diuretics that waste magnesium like furosemide or hydrochlorothiazide, making deficiency likely. Others take drugs that conserve potassium and magnesium. Proton pump inhibitors for reflux can lower magnesium by reducing absorption. If supplements are piled onto this mix without checking labs, levels can swing from too low to too high or back again. Research backs up this middle ground view. Observational studies, including analyses from the Framingham Offspring study, show that people with higher magnesium intake from diet and sometimes modest supplements have less arterial calcification and fewer heart events than those with very low intake. Studies in JAMA Internal Medicine and other journals have found that low serum magnesium is linked with higher rates of sudden cardiac death and coronary artery disease. Small trials suggest that magnesium supplementation can lower systolic blood pressure by a few points, improve measures of arterial stiffness, and in some specific kidney patients modestly slow progression of vascular calcification. But the improvements are modest, not dramatic plaque melting. Most of those studies use dietary improvements or supplements in the 200 to 400 milligrams per day range, not megadoses. And the improvements usually show up as a slowing of plaque growth and calcification, not as big reversals of long-standing disease. What many breathless internet videos leave out is this: magnesium's benefits show up when it is part of an overall heart-healthy plan: lower LDL cholesterol, controlled blood pressure, better diet, more walking, no tobacco. There is no high-quality evidence that magnesium by itself reverses established plaque or makes it safe to throw away other treatments. So where does that leave seniors? Magnesium is not a roto-rooter for arteries. It does not dissolve large cholesterol plaques. It does not strip heavy calcium out of aorta walls that have stiffened over 40 years. It cannot substitute for bringing LDL down, controlling pressure, quitting smoking, or managing blood sugar. What magnesium can do, when levels are low or borderline, is help arteries relax, balance calcium handling, support a more stable heart rhythm, and modestly improve blood pressure and insulin sensitivity. It is a supporting pillar, not the foundation. For most older adults, total daily magnesium intake from food and supplements in the 320–420 milligrams range is reasonable, but the right supplement dose depends on what is already being eaten, what blood tests show, and how well the kidneys work. Consider 3 different seniors. Eleanor is 70 with no kidney disease on a diuretic that wastes magnesium, having leg cramps and a low normal magnesium level. For her, adding 200–300 milligrams of a well-absorbed form like magnesium citrate or glycinate may help both symptoms and blood pressure, alongside a diet richer in greens, nuts and beans. Harold is 79 with stage 4 kidney disease and multiple heart drugs on board. For him, even 100–200 milligrams of supplemental magnesium could be too much, so any change must go through his nephrologist. Susan is 67 with an excellent diet full of greens, nuts and legumes, normal magnesium levels, and no major illnesses. Adding a big 400 milligram supplement on top might bring little benefit and only cause diarrhea or interact with other pills. A good step-by-step approach looks like this. First, look at current intake. Leafy green vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, whole grains, and some fish are the main food sources. Many seniors get less than 200 milligrams per day this way. Next, check any vitamins and supplements in the cabinet. Multivitamins often have 50–100 milligrams. Standalone magnesium products can have 100–400 milligrams per pill. Calcium-magnesium combos add more, and some laxatives are magnesium-based. Then, before making big changes, get baseline labs, a serum magnesium level, imperfect but useful, creatinine and estimated GFR to assess kidney function, and basic electrolytes if on diuretics or heart drugs. Armed with that, clinicians can help decide whether supplementation makes sense. If magnesium is clearly low or low normal and kidneys are fine, a supplement of 200–400 milligrams per day may be reasonable. If magnesium is normal, diet is weak, arteries are diseased, and kidneys are okay, a small dose, perhaps 100–200 milligrams, plus food improvements could be considered. If kidney function is impaired, especially with an eGFR under about 45, magnesium supplements need extreme caution and sometimes are avoided entirely unless a specialist recommends them. If a supplement is used, the form and dose matter. Magnesium oxide is cheap and poorly absorbed. It mostly acts as a laxative. Magnesium citrate is better absorbed but can still loosen stools. Magnesium glycinate tends to be gentler on the gut and well absorbed for many seniors. For most older adults with normal kidneys, a reasonable starting dose is 100–200 milligrams of elemental magnesium once daily with food. If tolerated and labs support it, that can be increased to 200 milligrams twice a day, but rarely is there a good reason to exceed 400 milligrams daily long-term without close supervision. Magnesium should then be woven into a full artery healing strategy, not treated as the entire solution. That means bring LDL cholesterol down, often under 70 milligrams DDL in seniors with plaque, using statins or other lipid-lowering drugs when appropriate. Control blood pressure into a safe zone, typically the 120S, 130S systolic for many, adjusted for frailty. Keep blood sugar in check, with a 1C often around 7–7.5% for many older adults with diabetes. Absolutely eliminate smoking. Build in daily movement, even 20–30 minutes of walking most days. Shift the diet toward vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, beans, olive oil and fish, patterns like the Mediterranean diet. In that context, correcting low magnesium supports smoother blood flow, calmer arteries, and more stable heart rhythm. Over the next several weeks and months, seniors and clinicians can watch for changes. Benefits might include slightly lower blood pressure, fewer muscle cramps, fewer palpitations in those whose low magnesium contributed to rhythm issues, and sometimes better sleep or energy. Side effects to watch include diarrhea or loose stools, nausea, and in those with many heart drugs or low baseline blood pressure, more lightheadedness. In kidney disease, rising magnesium levels in blood tests can signal danger. Labs should be rechecked after 2 to 3 months and then periodically. To see how this looks when done right, consider Margaret. She was 71, a retired teacher with high blood pressure and high cholesterol. A coronary calcium scan at 68 showed a score of 220, clear evidence of moderate plaque in her heart arteries. Her cardiologist started a statin blood pressure medication, encouraged daily walking, and recommended a Mediterranean-style diet. At 71, her LDL had dropped from 145 to 68. Her home blood pressure settled around 128/76. She walked 30 minutes most days, yet she complained of nighttime leg cramps, occasional palpitations, and mildly higher pressures in the evening. Her diet lacked nuts, seeds, beans, and leafy greens. She also took a stomach acid pill that can lower magnesium. Labs showed her magnesium at the low end of normal. Her cardiologist explained, "Magnesium will not suck plaque out of your arteries. But seniors with low magnesium often have stiffer vessels and more irregular beats. Let's support this carefully." They agreed that she would increase dietary magnesium, a serving of leafy greens most days, a small handful of nuts, beans or lentils several times a week, and start 200 milligrams of magnesium glycinate at night with food. 8 weeks later, her leg cramps had largely gone. Her evening blood pressure had fallen by about 4-5 points, and her palpitations were less frequent. Labs showed her magnesium floated up into the mid-normal range. Kidney function remained stable. A year later, a repeat calcium score, not something every senior needs, but used in her case, showed very little progression. She still had plaque, but it was stable. The real drivers were LDL brought into the safe zone, blood pressure controlled, regular walking, no tobacco, a better diet, and magnesium deficiency corrected. At 75, she remained active and independent. Same mineral as in William's story. Different relationship. Margaret did not abandon proven therapies. She did not double or triple doses on her own. She used magnesium where it belongs, as a supporting player inside a carefully designed plan. William's story is a warning. A 73-year-old, desperate for a simple solution, latched onto the idea that one natural mineral could undo decades of damage. He stopped the very medication most likely to stabilize his plaques, convinced that magnesium would melt them instead. He explained away chest pain as cleaning out, and lost hours that should have been spent in a cath lab. Magnesium did not betray him. False promises did. Seniors hearing this now have advantages he did not. There is a clear understanding that magnesium supports artery health but does not unclog arteries like chemical drain cleaner. There is awareness that aging kidneys, stiffening vessels, multiple drugs, and changing digestion all affect how minerals behave in older bodies. There is a concrete plan for assessing magnesium status, supplementing carefully when needed, and folding it into a comprehensive heart protection strategy. There is a healthy skepticism toward anyone promising that one mineral can replace statins, blood pressure control, lifestyle changes, or needed procedures. This information becomes valuable only when it shapes real decisions. That might mean gathering every supplement bottle, all the artery cleanse, plaque remover, and mineral products, and taking them to a doctor or nurse practitioner. It might mean asking, can we check my magnesium, kidney function, cholesterol, and blood pressure together and decide what role magnesium should play? It might mean using magnesium in modest doses as part of a larger plan rather than a magic bullet. And it certainly means pausing the next time a video or advertisement promises that one mineral can undo everything else. At this point, seniors can quietly choose which description fits best. Relying on mineral, if a supplement has been the primary plan instead of prescribed care. Using as support, if magnesium or similar minerals are one part of a broader approach guided by a clinician. Or reviewing with doctor, if this conversation has sparked a decision to go over every supplement and medication in the context of heart and kidney health. Those few words can mark the first step toward a wiser relationship with minerals, one that honors what they can do, and just as importantly, what they cannot. Disclaimer, the content in this video is for educational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of a physician regarding any medical condition. Never change any medication or supplement dosage without consulting your doctor.